Morning everyone, it's Roland Walker here, and we have another First Advance video blog. So we're going to be talking about the regulators in this country and what they do, and particularly the credit regulator, which is what First Advance falls under. So there's typically three types of regulators. First one is the Financial Services Board, which typically deals with business transactions, insurance, and anything that falls under the ambit of business, so business to business transactions. They don't really deal with private transactions, so the man on the street, it's pretty much the business ambit. Then you have the Consumer Protection Board. So they fall under the Consumer Protection Act, which is the man on the street, the layman that has to deal with various different companies and retail businesses. So that typically is misrepresentation by a big business, saying one thing and doing another, misrepresenting how they advertise, so advertising in a way that looks like you're going to get X and you only get Y, and that also is quite a big thing in every country around the world, and in South Africa they are quite active, making sure that whatever people advertise is what they actually are getting. So you can go and complain about a company or about a product, and they will act as an intermediary to try and see if it's fair, what has happened to you, and whether you have a justified claim. And then lastly, it's the credit regulator, which is the NCR, the National Credit Regulator, and they fall under the National Credit Act, which is a whole bunch of legal jargon and put together into an act. So there's various different subtitles to it, and they deal with everything to do with lending and where you are doing some kind of form of loans or lending. They even deal, from what I can gather, with debt. What do you call it? These people that debt management and debt restructuring. So they're a good bunch of guys. We deal with them a lot. We have been dealing with them and negotiating with them with a particular reference to a new model, which I will discuss in another blog, but it is the lend and drive model, and overseas it's been going for the last 20-30 years, but in this country the act doesn't actually facilitate this type of transaction, even though it is a very useful and valid transaction. It still hasn't been legislated here, so we're trying to see how we can fit it into the act so that we have no problems with these guys. But effectively, to be a lender, you should fall within the act, and therefore you have to register with the NCR to become a vendor of some kind of product, and you have to go and get registered with them and get licensed with them. And basically what that does is it helps you as a consumer, or if you're a business person and you're listening to this, it basically helps with unscrupulous lenders that are lending at incredibly high rates that they can't justify, and they also are looking at scams and fraudulent schemes, which does happen. And when you talk to these guys, they tell us how many guys are actually doing these little shady deals and creating all sorts of havoc, stealing from people, taking their money and actually not giving them what they have said. So they're a very necessary part of our business and of business in general in South Africa. So yeah, we try and toe the line. Sometimes it's not easy to fall under their particular act, but they are open to trying to look at everything in a very positive way, and looking at how they can help if it's a product that does make sense to the consumer. So yeah, that's pretty much it from the regulatory side of things. Those are the kind of things that we deal with, and if you do have issues, they are in Midrand in Johannesburg, and you can get hold of them very easily. So thank you, and we'll have another blog very soon. Take care.